idea what time it is down and under, but it is time for Shiny Side Out with Dave and Mecky. So I hope you have your tinfoil hat all made and cinched down tight over your ears. So take it away, Dave and Mecky.
Hi, this is Dave. I forgot. There you go, I forgot I was muted. Guess what? This is Dave.
And Mecky's.
Shiny Side Out on WZZR, coming to you from Australia for Revolution Radio on the website name revolution.radio, where it is home to fresh, unfiltered ideas and conversations in the chat room. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I've got to get in the chat room. Hang on a second, so then I can confirm it. There we go. And it's also a great place to get your merchandise. Not the chat room, the website. You know, Mecky, this is show number 623.
320 and 600. That's a lot of shows.
It is. And just for everyone here, maybe listening to this for the first time, do like, share, subscribe, and discuss what you hear with other people, and donate to the station. But I want to say this. 623 weeks of shows, because they're weekly shows of this brand, and we also have Plato's Cave as well. Little cross promotion there. And we do 2 of those a week, 7 a.m. both Tuesday and Thursday mornings, Kentucky US time, whereas as this is 2 to 4 a.m. USA time, Kentucky time. But for us, it's 6 p.m. on a Sunday. So we're in the future. Ooh. I just want to put that out there. Because except for 2 weeks, possibly every other year, where we miss it over Christmas, we've done a solid, what is it, 12 years, Mecky, or something like that? 12? We're in the 13th year is where we're at. So do respect that we have this show. It's been going for so long, and honestly, do me a favor and hit like if you listen to this on YouTube, because it helps with the algorithm. That'd be fantastic. Now, you know, you don't have to catch us on air like you are. You can do it simply online or anywhere using a smart device and an app. So you can either directly listen to the station by going to revolution.radio and listening through the station's website, or there's a plethora of applications where this station is rebroadcast through. TalkStream Live is another place that you might be able to catch it. But outside of all of that, you can sit at home with a Grace Tabletop digital radio, put your feet up, get a nice cup of coffee or hot chocolate or a cold drink, depending on, I don't know, where you live. You could be listening to this on the ISS, where you're just drinking recycled water, or you could be on an American warship. We know we've had someone on an American warship at one point in time, because the station's access from an IP address, and it geolocated to that area in the Pacific Ocean. So Pacific Fleet, yay, right? Good for you. Thank you very much. If you miss Solaris' show, don't fret. You can jump in the archives. They're free. You can download her shows there. But she had a great guest, Bill Brown, tonight, and talking about his recent trip to Egypt. You need to catch that. It's fantastic. And what am I saying, Mackie? Solaris always has a great show with great guests. So do jump in the archives and do it. Maybe listen 2 hours earlier than our show on Revolution Radio Studio A. You could do that. That's easy. 2 hours. What's 2 hours?
120 minutes.
That's true.
Yes. Woohoo!
Mackie,
all that learning finally pays off.
Mackie could have also answered Pepsi, and that would have been partial credit.
Partial credit.
Yeah. So I'm still broadcasting out of Bundjalung country, Mackie. Where are you?
I am in the good country of the Durack people.
Durack people. Beautiful downtown Durack. Did you get a storm this afternoon?
I did not. I was waiting for it. I could see the clouds forming, but no.
And then whoosh, they all disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent a very lazy day today from 5:45 in the morning all the way through to 10 minutes ago, watching the Bathurst 12 hour, and I did also watch the Daytona qualifying races. Gizzy got wrecked out, not his fault, but we'll see what happens on Tuesday because it was the rest of the racing was closed because of rain. That's funny because the Bathurst 12 hour on a treacherous track just kept racing in the rain. Just saying, they should have wet weather tyres for the Daytona, 500. Anyway, I'm only mucking around. I know that if you're driving 200 miles an hour and you're on a bank, it's gonna kill people if it starts raining. So no, I get it. I see why. Anyway, Meccy and I do respect the elders past, present and future of the lands in which we broadcast from, and we do that for a reason, and that's not only for the awareness of those ancient cultures, right, the custodians of the land, before, if you want to use the phrase which I'm encouraged to by a lot of my friends, Invasion Day, or when our nations were taken over by whoever the current imperialist nation was. Let's just put it that way. Because it's not only our countries, there's a lot of other lands. If you think about the out of Africa methodology, or the history, that it's still theory, but when they left, they actually found other hominid species. Now the Bible, Meccy, I'm going to say, I'm still ranting, too many coffees. The thing about the Bible story was the children of Adam and Eve just went to another town where there were already people. They did. Right? So, what? Okay, sure. Is that what we're doing now? So, you have to think that when the people who left Africa went into lands that were already inhabited by other hominids in the same fashion, and we know those places as three distinct groups: Florensis, we had Denisovans, and there's another one, Turon or something like that. And those ancient DNA are now in a group in most people in the world. They're a little cluster of DNA elements from these ancient ones. The ancient ones being those before the out of Africans came. And all I'm trying to put forward here is the recognition that it does, even if there was no one on a land, that you're still occupying it. Let's put it that way. I know that they're dirty words these days, aren't they, Meccy?
Oh, you know it.
That's right. So, anyway, that's where I want to leave it up in the air. Right there, just like that. That's what I want to do. Meccy, how are you?
I'm floating, Dave. You left me up in air. I'm but floating. No,
I guess you're better than that guy, the opposition to Russia.
Navalny, yeah. He didn't fall out of. Well, we don't know really what happened, but sources close to the seat of power tell us he didn't fall out of a window.
I should not have taken a sip of my coffee when you said that.
I know, right? Navalny, though, obviously you might recall him. He's been the major opposition leader for some time now. He was incarcerated before he was poisoned, I believe, with polonium, if I'm not mistaken. He went to Germany to get better, and then he decided to go back anyway. He was imprisoned yet again in a gulag, as it were, and now he has met with an untimely end. Yeah.
Isn't that the award? Isn't that the Russian award for excellence?
It is
in politics.
Yeah, and for the furtherance of the cause of democracy, we will now have you assassinated. But
I think
look,
we're burying
all,
it tomorrow. That's right.
all jokes aside, though, I do have a great respect, and I mean this, for people that believe something so strongly and feel a sense of right and wrong so strongly that they're willing to put their life on the line. Look, it could be small things, it could be big things. It doesn't really matter.
I'm going to say it here, Mickey, right here, right now. Darren Hinch.
Darren Hinch.
He went to jail rather than give up his sources.
That's to have principles. Yeah, puts you into a minority, and I want to say into the endangered species pile as well, because it is easier not to have principles these days. Yeah. It really is. But some people do, and they pay for it. Was the sacrifice warranted? Was it? Will it help the cause? Because the cause at that point becomes bigger than the person. Obviously, that's the whole point of sacrificing yourself for something.
Doesn't it depend
bigger
on
than
the
yourself.
Messaging that's going to come with it?
Yeah. So look, I don't know, but certainly my head goes off. He had a very strong belief. He felt that Russia was going in the wrong direction, right? And I don't think he was contrarian just to be contrarian. I think he just, he seriously saw issues, and fair enough. And now Putin is still there. He's prosecuting his war. We're coming into the third year of the.
Yeah, we just had the anniversary, the 2nd year anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And not only that, we're suffering, and this is globally, we're suffering from Ukraine war fatigue. I look at it now. This is the BBC front page, mainstream, whatnot, and I can see two stories on the front page of the World, news edition referring to Ukraine. One is Ukraine troops pull out of key eastern town of Avdiivka, and Zelensky warns of artificial deficit of weapons. That's it. And look. And Gaza, I've got Gaza's ceasefire talks not very promising. Oh, look there. And our fears for patients as Israel hospital raid continues. Rafah images show blast craters, and there's a couple more things on the Israel-Gaza war, which of course is now going into a phase of extreme civilian casualties, in my opinion, once they hit Rafah. Remember, there are a million civilians in Rafah, and I was in the city yesterday, and I was in a shop which overlooked the protest march. So I was actually with my daughter, and we just saw the march. This was a pro-Palestinian march. Anti-war maybe.
Palestinian, okay,
yeah. Pro, anti-war, anti-Israel, and I tell you, there were thousands of people, because we stood there like for half an hour to watch
cross.
people go by.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. They walked by and they kept walking. There were more and more people. It was massive. I didn't watch the news last night, so I didn't see if it was covered or not. But I
bet it wasn't. Just saying.
Maybe, but thousands of people, really, and I'm not exaggerating here. And all kinds of different groups supportive of the Palestinian cause. So that happened. And I told my daughter, this is actually really good. I mean, it's good that people do this,
Yeah.
But I
that's
said,
an active democracy.
Yeah, exactly. Ultimately, though, futile. But it's a good thing to do it, but ultimately futile. It's a good thing that you have the right to do it, right? And you have the right to do more, but people choose just to do that, and then, they're good. And they think they've done what they needed to do, of course.
Well, I mean, it's after you get the permit.
Oh, well, there's that.
Because you need a permit to protest.
Well,
so they know where you're going to be and what the path is and how many people you estimate.
Oh, look, that's fair enough too, because I mean, the city has still. I mean, Sydney has got 6 million people. It still has to function.
That's right.
And you want to avoid
clashes.
Yeah, you do. There weren't that many police. I'll be honest with you. There was 4 or 5 horses bringing up the rear.
Okay.
And there were some police officers standing on the sidelines, but there was very little police interaction with anything.
Did the police have jousting sticks, Mickey?
Jousting sticks. Yeah, that's right. For the house of Asher, I shall joust die to the death.
I was thinking of the castle joke.
No, I just.
What's he want for them? They were trying to go. Telling me.
Let's see. Yeah, but look, it was certainly interesting. But I tell you what, something else, Dave.
What's that?
The last few days, I've been looking at a whole bunch of different things. And I was drawn back into the 411. So I watched them all. I watched all the 411 documentaries. I didn't realize, but his son had actually, David Paulides' son had actually directed them. The documentaries.
Oh.
He's a filmmaker. Yeah.
Okay.
But he passed away.
What?
Last year. Yeah, it looks like a suicide.
No, everything looks like suicide.
Well, I don't know. His name was Benjamin Paulides, 1991. So he was 30 years old, right? And apparently 21, not last year, in 2021, he apparently committed
If he
suicide.
disappeared, it would have been a whole bunch of irony.
Well, that would have been, yeah. But apparently he had, I think it was bipolar disorder, had been diagnosed. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Point is...
Okay, well, just one sec. I don't want to make a joke about that because that's very serious. Mental health is something that is not addressed in our society
Right.
as it should be.
Right.
And for someone even as maybe famous with connections, for that not to have been seen to, at least identified, is a tragedy. So sorry, guys. Keep going, Mick.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% correct. It's a very serious thing. No, but look, I can't help myself to think though. Well, did he really? Right? Did he really commit suicide?
It depends on how he did it. I mean, if he held a shotgun behind his head, and I don't know.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't know what happened or how it happened, but
Or a plane
I just
comes
find
back.
I find it up when public figures that speak out about something
Yep.
or the other are associated with the work that goes on, then die. They just die, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Navalny had an accident. Yeah, sure he did.
Uh-huh.
Like
all those
nobody.
biologists and doctors who fill out the windows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're all accidents. We all laugh at that. We know it's not true. We know it's not an accident, right? Or we're following the narrative.
KGB.
Yeah, whereas people like, people like even Anthony Bourdain, right, or Mr. Epstein, for instance.
Yeah.
They committed suicide. They say, well, look, I tell you what, I think that's ridiculous, especially if you look at the Jeffrey Epstein case and what happened that night. And he was on suicide watch, by the way.
That's right.
So, and the way he died and what caused his death, and it was said, and I remember I watched the documentary or the news piece relating to it, and they did it in some depth actually, and they said what the bone that was broken in his neck,
Mm-hmm.
you can't break yourself.
No.
I mean, I don't care what you do to yourself, you can't. It's kind like that's not. Oh, sorry, you should never say never, right? But it'd be more likely to drown while you shoot yourself. So you shoot yourself and then you drown. That's a more likely scenario. So we take some things for granted because they follow the narrative that we all led to believe, and we go, oh yeah, that's the narrative. We know it's not true. And other things, that's conspiracy, Mickey. That's just crazy. No, you can't say that. Of course, they committed suicide. Well, no, it's not that simple and clear cut. Okay, and oh no, they didn't just die. I mean, again, I come back to the list of people associated with this station and how many have passed on over the last. Well, and Dave and I have been doing this like 12, 13 years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thereabouts. And in no group that I'm a member of, and I'm a member of many groups, if you will, work and friends, etc., school. In none of those groups is the death rate as high as in this group.
That's right.
People associated with the station and researchers we've interviewed, etc. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that I call this like our little radio, I guess, or conspiracy group, if you want to call it that.
Totally.
But it is telling, right? And people go, oh, yeah, that's just nonsense. And then I read this debunking statement. This was by the Skeptical Inquirer. The Skeptical Inquirer.
Okay, here we go.
So Kyle Polish, this was back in 2017, right? And this was in response to the first Missing 411 documentary, and the books, right? And he goes, his final analysis was, I mean, it's just a few pages, you read through it, but if you boil it down, he says, look, Paulides is serious. You know, he's trying to get to the truth, and yes, there are a lot of FOIA requests he made, but some were denied, and then he says something interesting here. Apparently, to learn more in response to the Freedom of Information request that Paulides made, this author here says, apparently to learn more, I would need to initiate an FOIA request for a list of the FOIA requests Paulides made. You can do that, he says with an exclamation mark. I don't think I have much to learn, however. Paulides doesn't seem to lie about details. With multiple books under his belt, satisfying his requests might indeed be costly. If the NPS had been dismissive or evasive, that's not proof of anything mysterious. And then he goes on, he looked at it all. None of these cases that he mentioned, and this is again referring to his books and the first documentary back in 2017, none of the cases seem overly mysterious. All seems to be, perfectly normal, and there's really nothing here. Move on, etc., etc. Now I've watched all the documentaries, and I've read a couple of the books only, but I've watched all the documentaries, and the cases he brings forward, and he goes like Paulides goes there. He goes to the place, okay, and he talks to the people that were involved directly. He doesn't. It's not hearsay. It's firsthand with him. He even goes to the places where people have disappeared. He spends time there, right? And he doesn't claim that he has seen anything supernatural himself. He doesn't, but he goes to all of the places. So he's serious, right? And to some of the things that he presents, and no one disputes any of the things he presents as fact. They're facts. He talks to the police that were involved. They say, this is what happened. The rescue workers, this is what happened. And he talks to those people. He talks to the police. He talks to the rescue workers, which are all, like that's their job. That's what they do for a living. People that search for missing people, right? Not just volunteers, but actual professionals, right? With canine units, etc., etc. And he goes, well, is this normal? He goes, and they go, no. This is highly unusual. This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. And that people talk about hypothermia. It can lead you to do strange things. True, that's all true. But then you look at the detail of what happened, and you realize that hypothermia can't explain certain behaviors, because there's erratic behavior that comes with hypothermia. You take your clothes off, etc. You take your boots off. There's one case in particular where the gentleman took his boots off and then proceeded to walk another 6, 7, or 10 miles, or whatever it was, across rocks that would have cut his feet up in a matter of moments.
Wow.
But that's what people say that are from the areas. It's just it's really rough terrain, right? And you just can't walk there. I mean, you have to have boots. It's just not possible. And there's no way around it. So that's impossible. So another thing is that things turn up, and this is really critically important. Unless somebody is playing silly buggers, right? Somehow. Areas that have searched or have been searched, and not just once but several times, and yielded no evidence, no artifacts, nothing, right? Nothing. There's nothing there. No one found anything in that area. A few days later or sometime later, they go back to those very same spots that had been previously searched, right? As the police and the search rescue authorities tell us, and all of a sudden there is stuff there. In fact, in some instances there were the bodies, the remains were found, or sometimes alive, especially live children are found, or articles of clothing are found, and you go, well, this doesn't make any sense. And the thing is this, it doesn't. And he spoke to Tony D'Souza, an ex-FBI investigator who, in fact, I guess you could call him the real-life X-Files guy for the FBI, right? And Paulides asked him, well, what do you think about these things? I mean, what's going on? And you could say that de Souza was very careful in his answers. So I'll give you a simple example. He said, David Paulides said, well, was it a department or organization that, where this data goes to? Is there another department or organization where this data goes to? And de Souza says, no, it doesn't go to another organization. So to another department. And de Souza was non-committal, right? But, well, so he was very careful in how he answered questions, but he was very forthcoming with these. And then so David Paulides says, well, what do you think is going on here? I mean, you've investigated this for the FBI in an official capacity, right? And de Souza says, well, to be honest, it looks like it's something extra-dimensional, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes, what? Well, if people disappear, especially children, like they're there one moment and gone the next, and literally, I mean, you turn around and the child is gone.
That's
for instance, right. You can't explain it. It doesn't make sense. It can't happen. It just can't happen unless you include in your investigation and thinking things completely outside what we would consider a normal thing, or what most people would consider a normal thing. And intra-extra-dimensional travel is one of those. And what the funny thing is? There's actually evidence for that in folklore and myth. And it seems that the time seems to flow differently in those different dimensions as well. But
right.
I don't know. Do you remember the fairy tales, the fairy folk?
Yeah.
Where people are let down underground.
That's right.
Into another, I guess, realm, as it were. And while they're there for a couple of days, or maybe, I don't know, however long they are there, they go back to the world they came from, and years, decades, sometimes hundreds of years had passed. These are the stories, okay? And you go, okay, so I think it is fairly clear, and those are the Green Children. I don't know if but in the Middle Ages there was a story of the Green Children just appearing in an English town, and they were green, literally had green skin. They didn't speak English. The boy died, and the girl eventually got a normal skin color, I guess, normal, and learned English. And she said, "Look, we were in a place underground, and we came here, and we couldn't find our way back, etc., etc. But there we were, and so forth." So look, there are sprinkles of stories, sprinkles of mythology that tell us that these things have happened. Right now. Are they scientific proof? No, they're not. They're not. But at what point, Dave, do we just say, hey, look, okay, yes, we can't scientifically prove it. And look, they've tried on Skinwalker Ranch now for almost, yes, we counted years to try something scientific, like to get something scientifically done in that area. And funnily enough, Paulides said that an investigator told him, someone told Paulides that the FBI told them that what David Paulides does is actually closely related to what happens on Skinwalker Ranch. Okay, so, but at what point do you then say, hey, look, there is something here. We've tried this. I mean, science is only getting us so far. I mean, we can't replicate. We don't know why these things are happening. Some of these things make no sense at all. They only happen here, and they only happen. We can't even nail down the circumstances. There's no set of circumstances or variables that would let us predict what is going to happen. Something is going to happen. It's unusual. We can't replicate it. We can't do it ourselves, but we can't have it happen again. It is completely beyond explanation. But nonetheless, it happened. It is there. It is. Oh, look. Oh, there it is. So what do we do, right? Well, the answer is we have to keep at it. This is my opinion. There are two ways you can go. You keep at it, or you do what the native people suggest you should do, which is just move on. There's nothing to see here. Mm-hmm. Just move on, because this is the kind of complication you don't want in your life, is what they say. And whenever I've watched a documentary about any of these things, when a native person was there, and I don't care what kind of native person they are, from wherever, right, whichever continent, they always say, don't investigate further. Go away. Just for your own sake, just leave this alone, right? Clearly, human nature, what it is, they would have in the olden days, when they first came across these mysteries, investigated themselves. Now, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, who knows? And they probably came to the conclusion that, you know what, this is probably better left alone.
Mm-hmm.
And the honest truth is, Dave, I don't know if we have the capacity to understand what is going on. And I come back to my thought that there are stationary gateways and there are also mobile gateways, as it were. Because not much else makes sense. We don't know, but there's really strong anecdotal evidence that there are stationary gateways. Okay, and it seems that both UFOs, because they just blip in and out of existence, blip, right? They do. They just there they are, and up, gone. There they are, gone. Same with it's crazy, but Sasquatch and Bigfoot, same thing. Coming in and out of existence. And so those could be stationary gateways, for instance, right? Used by those entities. But I think where we have our people missing, there could be a number of things. They could be abducted, certainly, right? But maybe they fall into these gateways, right? That might be non-stationary. I mean, I don't know what the nature of this phenomenon is. I have no idea. Right, but wormholes, we know wormholes, some are stationary and some are not. Right? Or at least mathematically speaking, we know that might be a possibility, right? These wormholes could be both stationary and they could also be mobile in the world, in the universe. So I don't know, but if you look at the mountain of people and how they have gone missing, the specific ones that are being investigated here, right? And then you look at other things that are happening around the world, and you can never ever let it just be one phenomenon. These things are all connected. I know this is hard to swallow, it's hard to understand, but all of these things are connected. There's no way they're not connected, right? I used to think, no, I just want to know about Atlantis and the Bermuda Triangle. That's all I'm interested in. That's my bag. Ancient aliens, yeah, I want to know about ancient aliens too, right? But everything else, now forget it. The metaphysical, the all that stuff. No. Kundalini and yoga and chi and all that stuff. That wasn't for me, right? I remember this very clearly. But ultimately, you come to the realization you can't pick and choose what you want to look at or what you should be interested in. If you want to get to the bottom of this, and there's a bottom somewhere. You need to look at everything. You can't exclude whatever you don't have an interest in or you don't like, right? You have to open your aperture. And again, Lloyd Pye came in investigating Bigfoot, etc. Right? That was his bag, like the hominids, etc. And then he was given the unfortunately named Star Child skull, right? And that became his thing all of a sudden. I mean, he didn't. That wasn't really his bag. He wasn't really interested in any of that. But there it was. Jim Marrs. He was a reporter from Texas. He was a reporter. He started as a reporter. He investigated. He investigated the JFK assassination, but it drew everything. He actually went on a mess like Dave and I. He went on a trajectory that took him everywhere. But Dave should speak because Mecca needs to take a breath.
In our chat, I wrote Mecca this, and it's a direction, and it says Dave sits politely waiting for Mecca to throw the mic to him for comment. I'm so cheeky today, Mecca. I feel like, hecklefish again. I've been watching so many Y-Files. My goodness, it's a nice plug for a good show. I remember, Mackie, all the way back at the conversation you were talking about people that we are familiar with seeing in the news, cameras in their face, both to the parents, the friends, those concerned of, loved ones who have gone missing, and that family, Mackie, with the high needs child who went missing less than 80 meters, I think, to 100 meters from their house on a very large property. Went missing, and I'll never forget the look of the person's face when being interviewed, where he said we looked in that place a lot. We went past it, we looked through it, there was nothing there. And then, what was it, 2 days later? There's the child there without having suffered any of those issues that was someone would have, as you might hear, someone suffering exposure, right? You see them wrapped in a thin gold blanket, like looks like foil, right? Trying to maintain their body warmth. That's extremely important. When that fellow was trying to explain it, I could see that his brain was trying to work out, how was this even possible? We looked there. There was nothing. And this child wasn't there, and then suddenly, whoosh, there it is. Oh, well, good news, we found the child. If it was at all possible for the portable dimension jumping holy things, whether they're wormholes or whatever, however you want your science fiction brain to work it out. If someone had a portable device, could open up like a portal at any time, or I'm just pretending, the invisibility blanket, whatever your brain will allow for, then, or do you just quickly put a tag on them and you go Star Trek to beam up, right? And then both of you beam up somewhere. And this thing about the kids playing hide and seek in a large space like a football field, and it's only got a thin bush area around the outside, like small shrubs, and the child goes into it never to be seen again, or a week later they appear in exactly the same spot that they went missing in. That is something else. So that is outside of this normal experience we have, but it is the experience we have. And so I know Meki and I agree on this. We shouldn't be considering these as hypernormal or extra normal or extraordinary. They're not. These are happening, and therefore we should be including them in our vernacular. They shouldn't be something that's so surprising we have to make a new term for it. Our ancient peoples have had these stories, and Meki, what about the stories of when the native people go, look, it's just a place we don't go.
Yeah.
And I suggest you don't do the same thing. Like Black Hill up in Queensland.
Yeah.
Black Hill has these huge rounded granite boulders just stacked in a pile. And it's not like they were what they call extrusions, where the substrate has now disappeared. That's like the intruded material remains, and everything else is gone, leaving those balls, these huge boulders which don't come from there. It looks like they were stacked in like a staging area, like if you're going to build something.
If you get a chance, go to Google Earth, and everybody can do it. Put it in Black Hill.
Black Hill in Queensland.
Up in Queensland, yeah. and just have a look at the area yourself. Just do that, and you will see that the area is completely incongruous. It makes no sense. It's just this, and these are really black rocks. You can actually overlay with photos.
That's right. People have taken photos of the area.
And Black Hill is here. It's near. Where is this near? What's this called?
Is it Cooktown or something?
Kumingla, Miriam.
What's the largest town? If you're going to fly in there.
That's a good question. I don't know actually. Bundaberg, Central maybe.
Well, anyway, so Meki and
Sunshine. Sunshine Coast. Yes.
Oh yes. So Meki and I had a look into it, and there was a whole bunch of local stories of that go back, 150 years, of you might call them rustlers, cattle rustlers, being chased in there, bank robbers chased in there on horses, and both the person and the horse and the police officer went missing. That's just that says a lot, right?
It's just weird.
Is it like when I put a whole bunch of old unused cassette tapes in a pile over an ant's nest of jumping jacks, because they sting you like there's no tomorrow and they hunt you down. And I thought, well, that's where they live, so I'm going to mark it. And my friend got stung, and anyway, bitten by 100 times. So, is that covering a huge entrance to a cave or something, where there's creatures that take you? I don't know. Is it where portals are? Did these rocks fall out of a portal? Right? Is it some kind of transportation method? I look, I'm being a bit silly, but we don't know what it is. No one can explain its creation, but there it is. As simple as that.
You got to take it at face value, and that's the thing, right? Because, well, there's no good explanation for this. We don't know what it is or how it got there, because these are really strange outcroppings, right? And oddly enough, I don't know why that is, Dave, but I can no longer get a photo in my computer.
Oh, that's bizarre.
I mean, you know how with Google Maps you can overlay, you've got the normal view,
Yeah.
as it were, right? And then you have the
Street view.
street, but as a photo, right?
Oh yeah, but if people have taken photos of the area, it should be a little icon you can click on that shows you that photo from that position.
Can't get
And you're
it.
saying it's not there. Wow.
Can't do. No, but I can't do it for anything in my computer anymore.
Oh wow. Okay.
What?
Yeah, time for formatting. Let's format it.
Far out, brother.
So yeah, I wanted to mention that, but there was the other thing, Mackie, that no press is there for that. You know, the farmers in Europe protesting by dumping piles of manure and clogging the roads in protest of getting. This is their story, their question. Why aren't they getting paid the right amount for the produce that they're making?
Yeah.
That's a very good question. Because they're complaining that, you know, you're putting the prices up at the shops, but we're not making an extra cent.
Yeah. Sorry, just something. Oh no, that's not it. Sorry, keep going.
Oh. So why are there no stories of this in our country? Why aren't we seeing it in Australia? If someone in the chat room is living in the US, can you tell me whether you're seeing this in your mainstream media? Because we're not. We're seeing hatred against Trump. That's number one. Our advertising media is now ramping up the army, or the forces. So air, sea, and land forces recruitment videos. That's something. I never, once a year you think, oh, you know, the budget comes out and they can afford some more people. No. This is pretty heavy. I'm seeing this quite a lot now, where they weren't being advertised. So I don't know what's going on. Why would they not want us to protest, Mackie, against? Oh yeah, no, I've answered my own question. Yahtzee.
Yahtzee. You know the answer.
That's right.
Yeah, look, this is odd, Dave. It's actually Black Mountain. It's near Mackay. Sorry, what's this? It's near Port Douglas, Black Mountain. Like I can't. It doesn't look like it used to look like, Dave.
Okay.
No. Look, I can see where the range is here. I guess it's like a bit of a ridge, but it's all green. Like it's like completely overgrown with bush.
Oh.
And maybe, look, I think there are black boulders I can see between the trees.
Mm-hmm.
But it's massively overgrown now. It used to be literally just this black collection of boulders.
Yeah.
For the entire area. Now it looks like there's a lot of bush that's grown over it. Interesting. Look, it is a place of high mystery, though. as far as Australia is concerned, and it's up near Port Douglas. Cape Tribulation is fairly high up, so probably you fly into Cairns, I'd say, and then it's probably a fair drive to it's a fair drive to get there from Cairns. Looks beautiful though. The whole area there is quite nice. But yeah, look, and it's sort of near. Well, it's just right off sort of the Great Barrier Reef as well, obviously. And Cooktown is, but Cape Tribulation, Cooktown, a little bit further north. But yeah, the easiest way to get in there would be, I think, either Port Douglas or Cairns. Anyway, but there are these mysterious places all around the world, and access to those is getting more restricted as we speak. And also, because things become fenced off. They're just becoming fenced off, and you can no longer go there. So good luck to you if you try. And there are a lot of no-go areas of that nature around the world now, where it was easy to get to, and now you can no longer get to at all. And obviously Antarctica is the key one here. But other places have been destroyed. The ancient monuments were destroyed by the ISIS empire at the time. A lot of ancient sites were destroyed. In Australia, the mining companies are doing that. Thank you very much. And elsewhere in the world, things are being destroyed because building cities, urbanization, cutting down jungle, etc., etc. So I think at this point in our history, Dave, I think LiDAR is probably the best tool that we can hope for. I think LiDAR images. We should take the LiDAR images everywhere of every piece of land that we have, and we should really heavily invest in underwater archaeology. Because I reckon that's where we will find all the strange things, as it were, right? All the things that are a little odd. That's my opinion. That's what I think. Like I've just found a really strange place.
I've found Black Mountain National Park.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about.
Correct. That's right. That's the one right off north of Cairns, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's the one. So I'm just gonna put that onto YouTube there.
Yep.
And the mountain is just made of rubble.
Yes.
Completely rubble.
Do you see it still as rubble? Or?
I've got Google Earth Pro, so I can see it in a way that you can't normally see it. So I'm going to see if I can do. I should be able to do. I'm not going to be able to see anything. Let me do that. So I'm just going to stand there and see if I can see what it looks like, and I really can't. Oh yeah, no, there you go. So I'm just kind of driving up the street here and trying to get a good view of the mountain on the other side, which it'll do this for me in a second. Bear with me.
We're bearing.
Oh, you are? You bearing?
I'm all bared.
Overbearing.
No, it's just a.
So there you go. So what I've done is I've been able to check this road out, and these hills are just black granite boulders. That's all they are. A complete pile of them. Makes no sense, and they don't match anything in the area. And why are they there? Don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the people and the stories are that you don't go too close to these because you disappear. It's just something like that's 652. It is a challenge to think how they were created. Number one. Number two, what's causing the disappearance of people. And Meki and I are very interested in going up there and taking some time to talk to the local folk.
Oh yeah.
And doing a piece. I think they call it a package. Doing a package on Black Mountain.
Yes. that'd be a nice thing if we can swing it both from a time and a affordability point of view, both of those. Because again, we have to work to eat. Dave and I, we sing for our supper, and we're not independently wealthy at this point. But if you want to make us so, I'm not going to stop you.
We'll agree with sponsorship of some kind.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are a few places like that, certainly in Australia, but on the Pacific as well, that you could investigate and really maybe move the needle. It's just strange. It's just a really strange thing to have, and the local law really, right? That is guiding us here, and it's the local people saying to stay away, which of course is like a rag to a bull.
It encourages me to investigate further.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right. So you.
If we end up going back in time and my backpack starts to play music, I hope I get it. I hope I get it. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah. Land of Lost, the remake with Will Ferrell, very funny. Well, that wouldn't be... It truly wouldn't be too disappointing because in the movie he does come back. So.
In reality, there might be some other things. This is the thing, like I always wonder. If you were to... Look, let's assume for a second gateways are real. Portals, whatever, I don't care. And they are dimensional or even temporal. Or both. Or something that we can't fully conceptualize. Would you step through it, right? Because what is your guarantee that you actually get back? Well, the answer is you have no guarantee, right? So I don't know, Dave. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And a lot of people that we think have stepped through, it seems, they are no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
They were killed in the journey. Not that they didn't want to take the journey. Obviously, they did take it inadvertently, and some came back alive. Most did not come back, and those that we did find, a large number were deceased. So you are playing with things that are serious. This is serious stuff. Okay, this is not a jaunt on the weekend. Like you're invading Ukraine. This is serious. This is serious.
2 years on. Hey, Maggie, what's the anniversary gift? Is it cotton, isn't it, for the second year?
For the second year, you get cotton. I think you're right. I don't know what the third year is. Paper? I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that this war is going to go on. It's going to go on and on, and there will be more weapons testing for the Allies, and I guess for the Russians. If Trump comes into power, I did want to talk about that just for a second. Donald Trump has been ordered to pay a sum of money that will break him.
Mm-hmm.
If his appeal fails, and he is ordered to pay the money, which is I think 350 million or 400 million or whatever,
something
crazy number.
US, yeah.
Like an insane number. The analysis has shown that he just doesn't have enough cash. He might have assets, that's all good, right? But he doesn't have enough cash to pay it. So that would be the end of Donald Trump from that point of view, at least. And maybe that's exactly what they're angling for, if you get my drift.
We've got 30 seconds left, Mickey.
Yeah, because this is where it's heading. I mean, I think Donald Trump, if he can't win the appeal, he could be out.
Wow, there's still an appeal. This is the end of the first hour of Dave and Mickey's Shiny Side Out. Stay tuned for a second hour where we will be talking about the Cosrev Mirror, time travel and remote viewing part 3. So stay tuned. And in the meantime, before we start again, on the other side of the small break, donate.